Luca Giordano is one of the most important late Baroque painters. He'd be entitled to our attention if for no other reason than the sheer quantity of his work. Besides painting walls and ceilings in palaces and churches, he's said to have created more than 5,000 easel works, many of tremendous size. Christ cleansing the temple, more than 7 feet high and almost 10 feet wide, is by no means his largest. Giordano trained with his father, and while still a boy, he showed amazing ability. His father, greedy for the money that Luca's work brought, is said to have screamed at him constantly, "Luca fa presto," that is, "Luke, do it quick." Hence the nickname that followed him through life, Luca fa presto. This painting belongs to a group from around 1660. Notice the large figures in dramatic action brought close to the front to bring us into the scene. Note in this work also the dramatic contrast of light and shadow. Though Giordano has replaced the dark background with a light one, the sun shining in the courtyard beyond, his color is less dramatic because it's modified by a golden haze that repeats the sunlight in so many Venetian paintings. The feeling of chaotic activity is created by crowding several layers of people close to the front, busy with a variety of gestures. These chaotic details overlay a well-composed structure. The sense of catching the action in a split second is heightened by Giordano's dry brush technique. By leaving brush strokes exposed instead of blending them, he creates a sort of blur which we see in photographs of rapid movement. His loose way of handling paint prefigures techniques of the 19th century. His willingness to leave us with the merest suggestion of detail in minor figures focuses our attention on the action. Alessandro Turchi has been lightly regarded, it seems to me, because he never developed a consistent style. He's associated with the high Baroque. He went through a naturalistic phase while he was in Rome, and he finally developed a highly polished classical style, which marks his later works. However, through it all, I feel that he retained a sensuous quality that somehow comes through as entirely his own. Note the dark background, with the scene dramatically lit from the side by a light whose source is not easily explained. His classical idealism is seen in the figures with their quiet yet eloquent gestures. There's also a strong naturalistic look to the faces. Still, in Baroque fashion, he focuses most strongly on the relationship between the characters psychologically as well as physically. They interact with each other. This picture, dramatic in pose, is very distinctly Alessandro Turchi. The next two paintings belong to a series of 6 illustrating scenes from the life of Joseph. Giovanni Battista Carlone was an unusual painter. He had the ability to study the works of many great masters without exactly copying any of their styles. Genoa had been the meeting place of all the Baroque trends, and Carlone borrowed from all of them. He places his characters in front of a rather dark background, pushing the action to the forefront. The surviving mannerist element is the drama. Each person reacts to the events in his own personal manner, revealed in facial expressions and posture. Some are exaggerated almost to the point of melodrama. Carlone's loose style of applying paint leaves brushstrokes showing unblended. The result is a texture, not of the objects painted, but of the paint itself. This method was also used by Rembrandt and would result during the 19th century in the Impressionist technique. Sometimes I think it would be better to describe Baroque as a period, a time slot in the history of art, rather than trying to describe the style of Baroque art. How do you describe the characteristics of storms? There are many kinds: rainstorms, snowstorms, hailstorms, windstorms, electrical storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, cyclones. Would it not be all right to describe Baroque as an art storm and let the details go? But the art historians and specialists won't let us off that easily. The original meaning of the word Baroque was irregular, contorted, grotesque, and it came to be applied to art which opposed the classical rules: different, unregulated, and taking its own form. The religious art of the High Baroque was a major tool of the Counter-Reformation, emphasizing biblical characters and saints, often in ecstatic visions. It attempts to woo the Protestant back to the Catholic Church by emotional appeal to its miraculous history, or to frighten with references to the Last Judgment. But the Reformation had quickened the minds of men and women. Even the peasant population had been affected to some degree, and the circulation of the printed Bible had brought the light of the gospel into the hearts of many. The medieval superstitious fears that the Roman Church had used were not now so effective, at least in Northern Europe, where the Reformation had its impact. Call to mind visions of the heavens opened, masses of angels, martyrdoms, battles, and pretentious piety. And you have Baroque.